Okay, so this video is going to show the last couple steps in getting the candle vases ready to bisque, or just getting them finished. So I cut them and then I let them sit overnight or so. And then here we go. I'm going to show you. Hopefully this works. Back to my GoPro. Can you see that? Kind of? Yeah? Okay. So, okay, here we go. So this is cut in half here. And this is a little bit on the wet side, but I'm going to just start just gently pressing in at the seam until it pops. That's what just happened. It just popped. And then I can open it right up. For years, I'd go back with my sharp knife and try to like retrace the line, and I would inevitably kind of shave it, and it was not good. So then I came up with this technique of squeezing it until it pops. And then I just pop these guys out. If they're a little bit drier, I just like 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, came up with this new style where I'm doing double time because I'm using my extra thumb that's just sitting there to pop them out. But see, when they're wet, they still stick a little bit. But see, I can kind of be doing that at the same time. It cuts down a lot of time, actually. So that's an amazing thing about pottery that I love about pottery is like there's almost always a better way of doing something. So it's like sometimes I say that I pray to the God of efficiency. So here's step one, is just popping these guys out. This is something that my kids have always loved to help with. I only actually have one of my own, but then I had steps, and they love to do this poking out. That was just so fun. It's the only thing I've ever really gotten help with. So that would be the first step. Then I have to let this sit for a while and let all the stuff get even drier and more crummy. And then I have my, my Rachel Ray, or whatever those cooking shows are called, version of, see, you can see how it's starting to get bone dry. I hope you can see this. Yeah, it's starting to get bone dry. So this is how I handle these. First, I take the top off, and I'm just going to use my hand and rub out the crunchies. So I go back with my fingernail and I soften anything that's kind of sticking out. But I don't use a sponge on the inside. It just creates so much problems between the inside and the outside. If I use a sponge on the inside and then I use a sponge on the outside, then it winds up like little crummies get everywhere. They get stuck everywhere. So then here we go. I just have a damp sponge, and I'm just going to soften this, because as we all know, if a sharp edge gets glazed, it turns into a dangerous piece of glass that's going to cut somebody. So here I just soften the part where it's the seam, and I just put it down. And then, can't really tell what you can see. And then here we have all this stuff, and these are just pieces from the inside, and I'm just going to take them out with my fingers and kind of clean that up on the inside as I go too. Same thing on the inside, just fingers. And then I do the seam. Just the seam. And then I'm going to put it back together. And then I'm going to just use my sponge on the outside. So a sponge on the outside, fingers on the inside. That's just what I do. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just showing you the way that I make these. Like this. And that's it. Now this guy is just going to sit until it's bone dry, and then I will bisque it. So that's that. And then several people have asked me about a finished one. So here's one from a couple years ago that I kept for myself. I just really liked the way this one came out, but and then here's no candle, but there's usually a candle inside here, and then these pieces fit together. And then it's cool because it has this opening on the top, and so you wind up on the ceiling getting a circle with this pattern as a mandala on the ceiling, and then the side patterns on the walls, and then if there's anything cut on the bottom, then that's the pattern that you see on the table. So kind of a cool design.